It's my great pleasure to welcome Jen O'Donnell, a great comedian. And she worked on producing non-scripted shows for 12 years.
Yeah, 12 years.
That's really amazing. You're going to be so experienced in so many shows. And I think she actually was on a lot of shows that we're familiar with, and maybe a lot of them that we never heard of. That's the nature of show business.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Many more that you haven't heard of, in fact.
That's the thing. Like when I was just a scientist or whatever, I was when I watched TV, that show sucks. Then now I know that even the worst shows on TV are still better than 99% of other shows being proposed or being produced. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. But I still believe in the 95% rule. Just in every field, like 95% of the product or even people are not that great. Just like the 5%, yeah, they're great. Yeah.
The 95% rule probably is about right for, shows that I would pitch or shows that we worked on that made it to a certain level, whether that's like, they call it, there's a presentation, which is like just below a pilot in unscripted.
Yeah.
So like 12 minutes.
Pilot. Okay.
So a 12-minute thing, and then they would trigger funds for a pilot if they like the 12-minute one, and then even you would do a sizzle reel that would be 4 minutes. So a 4-minute sizzle, a 12-minute presentation, a half-hour pilot. In terms of like that pilot that eventually went to series, that what I would say is 98%.
Wow.
Yeah. So
the attrition rate is horrendous.
And the sizzle reels are in the thousands, and the series are like 2 or 3.
Oh,
that's the real math.
Wow.
Yeah. So over the course of
what's your favorite series you developed?
Favorite series?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Wow. No, have some self-esteem.
Look, I really every single show that I ever had the honor truly to like meet people who were doing this interesting thing who we made a show about, I will die on the hill that it is interesting and relevant and important in some way, because like you said, it's really rare for these things to come through, to push through. And so the things that do push through are interesting because they really are.
Oh, yeah. So, there's so many factors in there, just very complicated.
I would say the most notable show that I was on a development team for, sometimes I joke that like this was the thing that like really broke me as an unscripted development person, because at the time you're just working on one of 1,000 things, and some are harder than others. And this one went on to become a #1 cable-rated television show.
Oh.
This woman has millions and millions of followers. She started on a little platform called Snapchat. She has a very large following known as poppers.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with poppers.
In the popping community, they are people who enjoy watching zits being popped.
Oh.
And that show went on to become Dr. Pimple Popper.
Oh.
Which was a mega hit, and I think is in season 10 right now.
Unbelievable,
and,
really?
Yes, and she was somebody who I have a very good friend. I've worked with her for a very long time. It was like a Snapchat find that she was like, I think this is a thing. And, cut to us like driving out with a camera guy a couple hours out of LA where her offices are, and being like, let's interview your staff. Let's interview you. Let's, get you on camera, see what's around. And they handed me, those COVID masks in the beginning that were like those, like, like the metal, or not metal, like it looked like a welding mask, but it's like just a plastic shield. Yeah. They handed me that, and they were like, because you might get some splashes, but also you need to really be prepared for the smell. It's gonna smell like dirty socks.
Jesus.
And so, and I can joke about how I could like, that was the show that broke me, because it's like, it's disgusting. Like, the sizzle reel was like, we did like I forget the song, but like, Overture of 1812, like the one that's like dun, 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 dun,
Oh yeah.
so it's like you're pulling footage as it's popping, just like what, like that was the sizzle reel, right?
Oh, okay.
And so yes, I can
sense.
joke that broke me,
that reminds
right?
me of Independence Day, by the way.
Fully. Yes. So
fireworks and 1812.
Yes. But what really was the struggle for me and like what really was tough was like I did a lot of casting for those early presentations and pilots and things. And so I'm talking to people who have this thing wrong with them that has grown and grown and gone for so long and is something that they couldn't take care of. And they didn't have access to health care. It's affected their lives. They can't work. They can't date, all of these things. And I was like, this actually, like, this is a very like funny, ridiculous, everybody sort of like ogles at this show, but like at the end of the day, this is a show about how Americans don't have access to health care.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
Like
that's the idea, but it's not. Nobody would tell you that's the show, but like that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, but then sometimes people don't take that step and think, what's the...
And that's fine, because this is entertainment, or this is just something I have to tell myself to like, everything that you see on TV is it has to go through so many echelons of why now and why this, but that's what we're, I think that's a very relatable thing that people have, the inability to access care and that these problems grow and grow. And then you watch this visual and you see their lives change and then the episode ends and then you can go to sleep. And that's what we do, It makes it a good television show, so...
Yeah, people always are interested in just one part of the story, not the rest. Even with Jeffrey Dahmer, everybody talks about, he eats people. But I think the more horrendous part is he actually killed a live person.
Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm like, I don't care if people eat me after I die. It's just
right.
Yeah,
wait, so he like started eating them like alive? Jeffrey Dahmer?
No, he kills them first. That's my point.
Okay.
I think
you mean like, killing people. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, to me, that was the worst part.
You would rather be a little bit eaten than die.
Yeah, exactly.
That tracks.
After I die, do whatever you want.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I just chuck it up to science.
I know what you mean. It's like very black and white. But he also killed a bunch of people.
I know, nobody.
But there are people. That's the water cooler. People are like, oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. That's
cannibalism.
The point.
That's quite a stigma.
The killing people.
Look, everybody does it.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, that's a great show. Well, man. So, I mean, what is the most difficult part of actually developing a non-scripted show? I mean, it says it's non-scripted. That is actually a script, right? It's just rough flow chart or whatever. How events happen and stuff. Yeah.
So the hardest part of development.
Yeah.
I think that I got really frustrated with, generally speaking, what the audience ultimately wanted. And that's, at the end of the day, that really is who you're answering to.
Yeah.
And I think the audience, like us as a people, as Americans, as viewers, it's very fun to like blame a television executive about a bad show. And, I remember hearing once from this network exec who was like, we have like focus group after focus group of people being like, I'm just so sick of seeing this trash, And then you're like, thank you for saying that. I'm sick of making it. What? Tell me about some of the past shows that you really loved, that you sought out by an interesting non-trash person, as you say, and they're like, no, I only watch the trash. Like people, they say that. So I think we all love the idea that it's like the network exec's fault that they're canceling good stuff, or like that, people, I saw a comment recently that was like, they produce something like this, and meanwhile the audience is begging for an original project. And then because I was feeling a little feisty, I commented and I said, what was the last original project that you watched that you loved? They have still not commented. But like, I think the idea that I want to put out there is like, I think as an audience, as a people, I think that we don't understand that we have a lot of power in being the change you want to see in television. Like if your attention is a commodity, your attention is valuable, what you support, what you follow, what you watch, they're only making decisions. They're following money.
Oh yeah,
so
following your eyeballs.
Yeah, they're following your eyeballs. They're following your money, and so ultimately, you really do have a lot of power. So like, don't engage with what you don't want to see. It's really that simple. And it's I think that people don't want to sometimes know that they have the power to change things because life's hard. So same,
But on the other hand, I feel that the audience really can't tell you what they want until they see it.
That's true.
Yeah, they just have to keep cranking stuff out and see what hits.
And we have all kinds of problems with discovery, in terms of like how people find things that speak to them. That's why I think the algorithm conversation is interesting. And, this idea that the algorithm in a lot of ways is replacing traditional gatekeepers who would, which is wonderful. It really democratizes things in a great way, but without guardrails and very quickly as this is happening, it is kind of a scary.
Oh, it's very scary.
Yeah.
And also, I just feel that my fate is decided by algorithms now. As performers, the algorithm decides who will get to see your content.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Instagram decides, we don't want to promote influencers with a huge following. We want to promote, people with smaller following. It's like,
we really are
they're really playing gods.
They really are. Yeah. And again, like as a people, as an audience, as creators, as creatives, even if you're not a creator, even if you're a consumer of content, we deserve transparency. Like we need to know how those algorithms work. We need to know when they're changing. And it's not because it's the right thing to do. It's actually because that's a better business model also.
Okay.
I think that's like an important thing to say. Like, it's not just the right thing to do. Your business is actually very limited if that's the only thing you do for a very short period of time, which...
I see.
I don't know. I don't know anything.
But I'm just worried that even if they explain it to us, I still don't know.
Yeah. Is there like a video where you're like, why did I put it out there? Where is there no traction? Why is or was there a video that you're like, that's the video that went viral?
Oh yeah.
There has been?
Yeah. I got a lot of those. Some videos.
You're like, every single one. I have no idea why it's viral.
Everyone's ahead. No, well, they shouldn't be.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I mean, I did a so-called non-scripted show in China for 10 years.
Oh yeah. What was it?
It was called "Is It True?"
Okay.
Yeah, it's some comedy, some stand-up monologue.
Okay.
And then the rest is kind of like a Mythbusters style of
fun. Yeah.
investigative reporting.
Cool. And you, was it like a panel show or were you hosting it? What was
I was hosting. There's a co-host.
Very cool.
We usually have a panel about 2 to 4 people. Okay. They're giving their opinion. And we used to have a live audience until, COVID happened. We can't have crowds here. Yeah, that was a fun show. And
what was like a favorite, like, was it true? Or like a surprising, experiment or thing?
Oh, yeah. Well, there is a lot, because every episode we got 5 or 6 subject matters.
Wow.
Yeah, so we did so many, like pesticides content.
Interesting.
That kind of thing.
Like what's it called? Like the chemtrails, that kind of like. Were you basically giving like a scientific?
Yeah, a little bit scientific, but also there's a lot of just investigation. You go to the field and talk to people. But I didn't do the investigative part. There's investigative reporters.
Cool. Yeah.
But I pose the question, I take the conclusions and stuff. So
I love that. And it went along 10 seasons or 10 years?
10 years, yeah.
So people watched it.
It was great for the first, I would say, 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And then after that, more people switched to cell phone instead of TV.
Right.
I remember it was around 2018, 2019.
Yep.
That's when they made the shift. And what's his name? Stephen Colbert almost got on my show.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, we did so much prep for him
Yeah.
because he doesn't speak Chinese, so we have to devise these interactive like short sketches and stuff. But then the trade war started between China and America, so it's just
That's what you're like. Interesting time.
Oh yeah, interesting time. Yeah. I kind of because I lived in both countries for a very long time. I just feel fundamentally people are the same. You know, we have very similar desires, hopes, and dreams, and problems, issues. So yeah, it's just kind of a shame that we can't have more going back and forth in terms of comedy. So that would have been amazing. You know?
I know that's and for his amount of fandom that you're bringing over to it.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's not over.
Maybe it's
not. Maybe you can do a vertical version. Maybe do some shorts. Maybe, I'm sure. But that's very similar to. I did a show in development that was kind of similar. Mm-hmm. It was a pilot. It was for some network that would do science-y things.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I really, really liked to. I love originality.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I love novelty.
Oh.
I love when something is just like brand new and you kind of discover it, you get to pick it out or you get to the light bulb moment. I love that. And unfortunately, that's not like every day. And unfortunately you really, so even reinventing the wheel in some tiny way is really what networks and audiences are looking for. Like brand new things are really hard to do.
Oh yeah,
often.
yeah.
So,
well, we didn't have any brand new scientific theories for a very long time. I've been in the science field. Like in physics, there's very few new theories as great as groundbreaking as like relativity. But relativity is like more than 100 years ago now.
It is. But I love that it exists. And even something I looked up once because I can't remember why. I'm a little bit. I'm an amateur astrophotographer, and by that I mean I have an ages 13 and up telescope, and I take pictures with my iPhone. And I'm very into moon phases.
Oh, really?
Trying to find, getting Jupiter, getting Saturn. Really elementary stuff, like not great, but I'm working.
Okay.
And I'm a space person, so I think at some point. I read that, like rolling suitcases, like suitcases that have wheels on them, that we didn't invent rolling luggage until 1970, which means that we literally figured out how to land on the moon before we thought, we should put wheels on a suitcase.
Yeah. Oh.
And so that idea is like very interesting to me that because there wasn't really a need to put wheels on a suitcase for a long time. Air travel was like 1950s.
I know.
So the idea of wheels on suitcases, like if you were going somewhere, you had like a giant trunk because you were moving there forever. You weren't like mobile and traveling for fun. So that invention or that discovery came out of a need. And it's so simple, and it was just like right there.
But the need has been there for like thousands of years. Nobody ever
sure,
thought
potentially. Yeah, I mean, really, it would have been helpful.
Yeah, horse buggies.
Sure. It would have been helpful. I know. But I always like the idea of like, I don't know, that we're just in this like, dark room and everybody's got a few flashlights and like, it's like, well, why don't you check over there? And so for the first time, you can just kind of like put this flashlight and you're like, oh, that's been there the whole time. And like it's timely and we discover it when we need to, and that all of these discoveries are just kind of around us and they're out there, and it's relativity could be the next in a day there might be a need to finally uncover this thing, and it's been right under our noses, which I love that idea.
That was nice. I found you are very creative in terms of framing things, or coming up with a great title.
Yes.
Yeah. For example, the other day I was talking about. I have a comedy special talking about being unemployed, looking for a job, workplace. Yep. I was like, maybe I should call jobless or unemployed. some people suggested unemployables.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
and we were in the green room before show.
Exactly.
And you had asked me kind of casually, like, you know, comedians are just talking. Everybody's got their notebooks out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I had told you that I worked in development or maybe, but I think you were just kind of making conversation and you said that.
Yeah,
and when you said that, I kind of was like, look, if you want me to tell you my opinion, we gotta like really get into it because I need to deeply invest in you know I was like, this is my thing. I think I said something like that. Like, this is what I do in TV. Like, we really sit down and we you know, we try to really bang it out, and we say like, well, what's a phrase that, you know, maybe there's things that are popular. But anyway, continue. Yeah, but I was like, I'm getting into it.
Jen suggested between jobs, you know, which is similar in concept, but it's just a lot catchier. You know?
And truly, I suggested it because. So you were on right before me.
Yeah.
I think I ran to the bathroom. I caught some of your set and I was laughing. And you have a joke that you said, my friend is said something about being between jobs.
Exactly.
And so then when we connected on Instagram the day later, I was like, what about because that's such between jobs is a very, you know, it's such I love like an idiom that you get to play with and make your own.
Yeah.
And, you know, here's a good title hack for everybody. Just like next time you're like at a book sale or like buy like a book of idioms. It gives you so many ideas.
I totally get this. There used to be a book called something about a writer's handbook or something.
Okay, I have like a writer's matchbook, something like that.
Yeah, it's tiny, right?
Yeah,
so like about this size, like a couple of inches.
Okay,
and then you flip through it. Every page has one word.
Ooh,
yeah, just one word.
Yeah,
you go from that one word.
Yes.
You know, just write anything you want about that one word. It's one word a day.
I love that.
I
really love that. I'm a big library person. That's I'd say a book of idioms or a thesaurus even. Go if you're like, what do I do? What's the next thing? What should I just go to a library, please go to a library. I also volunteer for the library. It's free. It's just like being around words, being around ideas. It just is like, it's the easiest way to, you know, you don't need a vacation to Italy. Like, you might really just need to go to the library.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the best things in America. You know, every town has a really good library.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is that what's your experience in terms of public libraries? I actually am not familiar with like how is there a similar version of a Chinese library?
Yeah, there is.
In terms of like, you know, the resources spent on it, in terms of the accessibility, is it comparable?
You know what? I'm not sure about the resources spent on it. It's just that it's not as common. You know, you don't go to a town and just immediately notice the library.
In a civic center, it's like fire hall.
Yeah, exactly.
Library,
exactly.
City,
city hall, library.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's really important. I think it's really important.
Yeah. Also, you know, a lot of the libraries, even architecture, is really nice to look at. You know,
it's a showpiece a lot of the time. You're like,
exactly.
Wow, what's this building?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's I think it's probably I don't want to be too I don't want to exaggerate too much, but it might be the best idea that we have in America is a free, accessible public library, which apparently this was like a Thomas Jefferson thing, the idea of a public library. Because you used to, like, as far as I know,
I thought you might say Benjamin Franklin, but it's Thomas Jefferson's thing.
Thomas Jefferson.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well, you know what? It might be...
No, it's okay.
Franklin would make much more sense.
Franklin,
I think it's Franklin.
So many things.
It's like this dude every day. How's he doing it all?
I know. You know? I think it's just getting electrocuted by the thunder. that's what it does.
Maybe he did. No,
he's a diplomat. He's doing this and that. You know. Yeah.
No, I totally agree. But yeah, he as far as I know, before this.
Yeah.
A library was like, you're a landowner, you pay a fee yearly to sort of be in a club where people put a bunch of books in a room, and then because you're a landowner who pays this fee, you can have access to these books.
Okay.
And so the idea of just like free public access to information was like a very revolutionary idea.
Oh yeah.
And you know, like I remember reading about the Library of Alexandria and what a lot of the collections were dedicated to. And a lot of them were data collections, like what year a river flooded, what the crops were, what the tabulations were.
Okay.
And so libraries really were like data centers for people to be able to predict the future.
Okay,
what I mean?
was it
Like-
called? The Farmer's Almanac or something?
Yeah, Farmer's Almanac was Benjamin Franklin.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which that I always say that was like the original he was like the original life hacker, you know, because he literally he was such a productivity bro. Yeah, because he was he was like, man, the sun's setting. You know what we should do? Change time. Like he was like a real
the time he did the time zone.
He did daylight savings.
Daylight savings.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so literally he was such a productivity hacker that he was like, you know what we can do? Hear me out, guys.
my
What
God.
if we say it's 6 o'clock, but then twice a year it's 5 or 7?
Oh my God.
Just so he could pack it all in. I don't know.
Man, that's pretty amazing. 200 years later, we still suffer from it.
I know. Still suffer. It's coming up soon.
Yeah, I know. Every year, it's I still remember I almost missed a flight once.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't adjust the time. You know?
These kinds of I'm a pretty proactive person, but there are certain things in my life that are that will pull me down, and one of them being like the clock on my stove or the clock in my car. So when daylight savings happens for weeks, I will let it mess up my life and not just change it.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't quite. Yeah. Anyway, it's a different subject.
Yeah. Sorry. Tangent. Okay. Libraries. Oh yeah. And
by the way. Do you have your own podcast or something? Or
I've had in the past. I have.
Okay.
Right now, I don't have a podcast.
But what was that called?
I did a podcast called "Take Down the Patriarchy" with Jen and Solange, with my friend Solange Castro, who's a comedian.
Oh, okay, all right. That makes me a little bit uncomfortable. That title. No.
As it should.
Offended.
It was fun.
I build the patriarchy. Okay.
Yeah. Look.
You want to take it down.
You know, that's why I like that power.
Yeah. But that's a great title, though.
Yeah. We did it. It was pre-pandemic as well. Both of us are stand-ups. The comedy industry is very fraught with misogyny. I always joke that I started stand-up about 10 years ago. One time I was on a lineup where I was the only woman on the lineup. There were 4 men named Josh. That's just a lot of Joshes.
Oh.
And genuinely, I think that the world is better when we're hearing from as many perspectives as possible. That's pretty much how I feel about most things.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
And
let me ask you this question. So what percentage of time would you feel that, oh, shit, you're going to a show and you just think, oh, shit, I hope there's no misogynistic shit being said today, or
100%.
100 every time.
Yeah, and not only that, it's even, I think, for me, less about what is said in a way.
It's just more attitude.
It's kind of where it's coming from, and the environment of how safe it makes me.
Oh yeah.
So there's a very casual open mic that I have gone to in my neighborhood for a while, and there's a guy there who, as of this week, there's a story being sent everywhere on social media about how he assaulted a comedian. He literally knocked her in the back of the head with a metal water bottle in public in front of other comedians. And
was the victim also a comedian? Or?
She was a comedian. From what I know in her post, she had done a documentary a long time ago, and he didn't like how he was portrayed in it. Oh. And so he just had beef with her for a long time and would be intimidating to her in spaces, and it escalated on this sidewalk, and a grown man in public knocked a woman in the back of the head with a metal water bottle. Wow. And she said it felt like a baseball bat. So the kind of guy who's going to do something like that in public, trust me when I say this, because I've worked on a lot of true crime documentaries. This is the kind of behavior that men get away with and do for a long time, because there's not any way they slip through the cracks very easily in the basically within the legal system.
Oh yeah, well,
And
yeah,
so,
totally.
you know, this is...
One example is Mark Wahlberg. You know, yeah, when he was in Boston, he beat up blacks, Asians. You know, one Vietnamese dude was blinded by him.
I truly do not
eye.
know this.
Yeah.
You are talking about the Mark Wahlberg who Christian members of my family say, Jen, why don't you work for this Christian man who makes Christian content for Christians? I actually, and believe me, I know people have done. I've never heard that, and unfortunately, it's not surprising.
I mean, the Vietnamese victim openly said he forgave Mark. But I didn't, you know. I still think he's a piece of shit, you know, for doing that, you know, and not openly apologize for it, you know.
He hasn't openly apologized or really, you know, nothing. I mean, not that would change things, but still, acknowledge is very powerful, and all of the things, but so it, you know, like, look,
but he's still, you know, like what you said, you know, hitting people over the head with stuff, you know, just in
the true crime shows I've done, this is exactly the behavior that's like the lead up to how could this have happened? How was she murdered by her husband? You're like, how about the years of restraining orders and the fact that he can go buy a gun very quickly? That's how. The end. Sorry. But actually not.
Oh, wow. Jesus. Yeah, I get it. Because, sometimes especially with our profession, a lot of times we have to work late into the night. You know, we have to walk past certain areas. Yeah, sometimes even I feel that, oh, man, just like, how it feels like when, you know, almost half the population can overpower you or, you know, take advantage or want to take advantage of you. That's a very scary thing. You know?
Yes. I really believe in the power of community for that reason. Full disclosure, as we like to say. When you asked me to do your podcast, I asked a few of my friends who were friends with you on Instagram if they knew you, just to make sure. Because that's literally how we have to operate.
Okay.
But I do think that communities are really powerful for that reason. In whatever community that you, you know, find camaraderie in is a wonderful thing. And having multiple communities is also very important because, you know, the stakes can get high, I think. I think the more, you know, communities you're a part of, and I think that that's like a real balm for people and something that we really miss out on because we are very online people, including me. I spend a lot of time on my phone.
Yeah. But when you say community helps, but it's more like a moral support, though.
Yes.
Because nobody can help you like 24 hours a day.
No.
You know, that's the thing. That's why, you know, one, you have to be really careful out there. Be really careful. Another one, just raise the awareness. You know, just Oh man,
I agree. I think. I think having folks who are in, you know, that you can call on in different areas is wonderful, and also being a person who you can call on. Can I tell you this real quick? I think it'll lighten the convo. Do you know what I did yesterday for real? And it sounds made up.
Okay.
My neighbor texted me. She said, "Can I borrow some sugar?" I lent my neighbor a cup of sugar. How quaint. Isn't that just like so classic? I was like, she was like, "Thank you so much." I was like, to lend a neighbor a cup of sugar. I was like, this is like, I was on the phone with my friend. She was like, that's like a wives' tale or something. Like, that's not a thing people do. I was like, no, I'm lending a neighbor a cup of sugar today.
Did she come by in a bodice?
Like basic. No, even better actually. Even better. Her mom and her sister, who I also know in the neighborhood, came by to pick it up because they were making birthday brownies. So we caught up. I also volunteer with her mom at the library. We were like, this is very. They're from the Midwest. They were like, this is very Midwestern. I was like, I love it because here we are in the city of Los Angeles.
You know? Where are you from?
I'm from Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo, New York. Oh,
Go Bills.
I've been there before.
You have?
Yeah.
Have you done like helium there?
No. I was in a NACA conference. This was like years ago.
I was born in Niagara Falls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
My husband and I got married at Niagara Falls. My dad's family's from
wedding?
there. Yeah, right at the falls.
Oh, wow.
It's like some special exceptions because our wedding was supposed to be in 2020 and then we had to postpone it. And so they kind of were just like, Sure.
Well,
And it was like it was very cool.
Yeah, but you're pretty brave, though. This outdoor wedding, what if it rains?
I gotta somebody put a bubble around us that day.
Oh, okay.
Because we all joked, like, there was just no weather. That's never happened. That's like 90% of the days it's going to be weather of some kind.
Oh, yeah, because
and it was just
whenever
like
there's a waterfall and mountain
waterfall,
and stuff,
mist, wind, everything.
Oh, yeah.
And we did an outdoor wedding.
Oh.
Outdoor dance floor. We did have an indoor dinner.
Okay.
There's like a restaurant that's above a gift shop that my parents actually had their wedding reception at. This is adorable. It's adorable.
Oh,
and
wow,
so
nice.
we had the dinner there, and then everybody like went and danced. And this is important. This is something I invented, which I'm very passionate about. I don't know if you know this. In like sometimes American weddings, they'll do like a dessert finale. Is this common? Like where it's like we're doing a big show. Yeah. One time I remember at my aunt's wedding in like the 90s, they had like an ice swan. I was like, oh my God, this is like, And so I was like, what if we, you've seen like a chocolate fountain before? I was like, what if we do a fountain, but it's hot sauce, and we have chicken wings because it's Buffalo, which is home of the original Buffalo chicken wings. So
Is that real?
it is the home of the original Buffalo chicken
Really?
wing.
Oh, I never wondered. Those like Buffalo don't
It
have
is.
wings.
Yeah. What did you like Buffalo? What was your experience?
Yeah, I just like the
Like you better say yes.
The old part of Buffalo, the
downtown and
railroads, the
Old First Ward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah, those were nice.
Yeah.
And also I'm in the center of the town, but I don't feel like when I was in New York,
Right.
everybody just
hustle, bustle.
But it's pretty relaxed there.
It is. Yeah. Downtown used to be a version of that, I think.
Yeah.
Department stores and things like that.
Okay.
And so they're trying to really bring back life to downtown. But it's a
but
great spot. I love the people of Buffalo. I love. And,
I see. You still feel hung up about like Buffalo Bills?
Oh yeah. Well, I always joke like if the Buffalo Bills do win a Super Bowl, it will actually throw me like into a full existential crisis.
Oh,
okay. Like so much of my identity is like the underdog idea of the Buffalo Bills, but also in the same way like hope springs eternal, like there's always next year. Yeah.
That's true. Speaking of identity, I always ask my guests to tell us one or two stories about themselves that you let your friends know.
Yeah. I love that. I think being from Buffalo, and I'm from a small town outside of Buffalo, so there's there's an island between Niagara Falls and Buffalo.
Oh.
And one time one of my friends looked at the map and she goes, "Why is Canada south of you?" Because it's literally like there's parts of the United States that are above Canada. So like it's this island in between. It's a very small town. It's a place where as a kid I really felt growing up like where things don't happen.
Oh, okay.
Like where if you have a big idea, there's those things happen other places.
Oh. Really? Okay.
Yeah. And we had a invention contest in third grade, and they introduced it to us. We're like, 8 or 9 years old. And they literally told us that Americans don't invent things anymore. Everything's being invented in China. They literally said that.
Oh, wow. That's always in China what people say about America.
Really?
They're like, America invented everything.
Yeah. And you know what? It really
everything.
lit a fire inside of me. I was like, we better get to it. I don't know why. They really tried to like, they were like, look, this is your rival football team. Do you know what I mean? Like they really. So this starts early, apparently.
No, the Buffalo Bills in you.
Yeah. It's like, well, we better win.
Oh wow.
So yeah, whenever the invention, I think it was called it was Invent America.
Oh okay.
And maybe we also called it the Invention Convention. Oh. So we would every year, if you had a prototype of some kind, and maybe it would sort of work, maybe give you the idea, it would give you a leg up. You could do a poster, and I remember the teacher said, "Don't invent."
So just let me ask you this: what does a volcano get you?
Oh, well, it does. Does do something interesting. Okay. A volcano of chicken wing hot sauce. That's probably a winner.
Oh, okay.
I remember her saying, don't invent a robot that cleans your room. Because they wanted you to really like try to be resourceful. And I was like, well, that's why we don't have robots that clean our rooms, because they told us not to since third grade.
Yeah.
Besides a Roomba, I guess. But so every year I would invent something, and I won very often. My best invention, one that I really loved, my mom has a video of me pitching it on stage. Very Shark Tank like.
Wow.
Very serious business. I probably could have combed my hair a little bit better. Same with today. But so I pitched this.
You look fine.
Yeah, I pitched this idea on stage, and it's an answering machine for your door. Because my friend would come over and ask if I could play, and she was like so cool and so fun, and I was like, we would get home from like somewhere, and I'd be like, what if she came over and I missed the opportunity to play? What if she? And so I thought, our phone has an answering machine. What if our front door also did? And my mom sent this video to our family group text recently, and my brother said, did Jen invent the Ring camera? And I was like, yes, I did. And then we were kind of joking about it, and I didn't actually know the origin story of the Ring camera. Did you know that the Ring camera is actually the most notoriously passed on profitable pitch of the show Shark Tank? Because basically this guy who invented the Ring camera went on Shark Tank, pitched it, and at the time I think it was like probably pre-Amazon, pre-pandemic. There wasn't like as much of a need. People weren't literally like, it was like our front doors weren't like our commerce. It was like, oh yeah, your neighbor who's going to borrow a cup of sugar, you're going to miss her. So it's like now the most notorious passed on invention on Shark Tank. However, you heard it here first, folks. I invented. It was me in 1998. I invented. So this is what
But what happened to it after you?
So if you won the
invention?
next level, from what I understand, you would get, you would go to nationals. It was like that type of thing. So one of my classmates invented something called a Lego sorter. He won instead of me.
Okay.
He went on to be a real loser. He's a pediatrician, and but the Lego sorter won, and I will never forget. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I'm an inventor at heart.
You can't trust other people's judgment, and you really have
That's a great takeaway. Actually,
it
really is.
Because sometimes people just shit on some ideas.
Yeah,
they turn out great. Because that's why I would never tell another comedian, I think comedy is not for you.
Yeah.
I would never say that.
Right, good point. Yeah, you don't know their audience or who's out there.
Exactly. And also, I just personally witnessed some guy who was so bad at comedy for 5.5 years.
Yeah.
And other people call him dog shit.
Yeah.
Because he's everywhere and he stinks.
Yeah, and he's like a famous podcaster now with millions of subscribers.
I don't know that part, but then just like after 5.5 years, all of a sudden he gets really good.
Oh, yeah,
He found his voice.
Right.
You never know when it's gonna start working for you.
Yeah, that nugget will become.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. So I ended up working for a company that Mark Cuban co-founded, and so in my mind when I took that job, I was like, I'm coming for him. Like, we got some ideas coming his way.
Okay.
Sure, I might be working in content development.
Yeah. What are you doing there?
Sure, you might think I'm here for we're talking about business development. No, actually, I have a lot of inventions that me and my mom want to pitch you. That's my secret plan.
Okay.
I'm coming for
really
him.
good to know. I never thought about you being an inventor.
I think that's what development in like TV and actually even stand up really in a way is.
It's creating.
What I want to say even just about development in the beginning, like 98% of things become nothing. I changed that number, but whatever. They become nothing.
Exactly.
And stand up for me, when I started doing it, was a way for something to just like live that day. Like that I could write a joke and then it could immediately be a product. There's no that it could immediately live and impact somebody.
Because remember, when we're younger, sometimes we ask ourselves, what's the meaning of life? And then
Sure, we all do.
Yeah, but then after a while, it's like there's no meaning in life. Life is more about finding a meaning or some inspiration every day.
Yeah.
And comedy could be that conduit,
Yes.
right? Just like every day, if this joke works or I tweak the other one,
Yeah.
something works. I did it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
that's a great feeling. Yeah.
I really just love the idea of living well day to day.
Oh, yeah.
And so exactly that, even if you had a bad set or something
you still
didn't work
learn
out.
from it.
Yeah,
Oh,
you still
yeah.
learn. And then you also like run into somebody when you leave who says like, I really like that thing you said, you've not done nothing.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I used to be a scientist. I was a biochemist. My job was to screen for cancer-related genes because
Wow.
the human has about 30,000 genes.
Yeah.
And because it's totally not related to CM at all, but what I learned from that experience as a scientist is to how to deal with failures.
Interesting.
Yeah, because if you do an experiment and it works,
Yep.
succeeded, that means that experiment is probably worthless. You have to go through a lot of failure to arrive at a critical experiment.
Right, to get,
and that's
to, get to the
worth it.
conclusion.
Yeah.
So you approach stand-up in a lot of ways with like the scientific method then.
Yeah.
That is what
I
you
mean,
do.
I just regard failure as an achievement. At
Yes.
least this failure gives me an answer.
Yeah, that's also a great reminder.
Yeah.
That's a really great thing to
Exactly.
way to look at it.
Yeah. I mean, if a joke doesn't work, that's my achievement today.
Yeah.
I know this doesn't work.
There's
too bad for the audience.
Exactly.
But I'm great.
But this feels good. Yeah. No, that it's so funny. I have an 18-month-old. Reading about how babies operate is like they're mini scientists. And so they're constantly looking for reactions. So like now he will like pull my hair when he knows that it's time to brush his teeth. He'll like try to like pull me in another direction, like the movie Ratatouille almost.
Oh.
And
I didn't see that movie.
It's like a chef and he has a mouse on his head who teaches him how to cook by pulling his hair. That's what my son does to me at bedtime.
Oh, okay.
All the Ratatouille fans are gonna love that one. They're gonna love it. Okay. But yeah, I read, like, think about it, like he's a mini scientist every day conducting little experiments to see what the result is.
Yeah, what the boundaries are.
Where the boundaries are. So like consistency is important and all of that. And then he's like learning those takeaways. So
wow. I heard that's why they keep dropping things. That's how they learn
yeah,
gravity.
I know. Yeah, I know.
I
And
was
I'm
like, how many times do you have to do this experiment?
Yesterday at Trader Joe's, he just kept throwing his bottle and his car on the ground, and he's a very charming baby. It's very little blue eyes, blonde hair, and people just keep picking stuff up for him. And I want to be like, don't.
Oh, yeah.
We can't entitle this man any further.
Are they really friendly to people? Or,
Yeah,
is he?
yeah. He's really a friendly kid.
That's a great trait. But on the other hand, sometimes it worries the parents. I remember I have a comedian friend. He has this really cute and adorable son.
Yeah.
We did a show at a resort. That kid just follows everybody.
I know.
Oh my God. I can just tell the fear.
It's scary. It really is.
Yeah. Whoever is nice to him, hi. He just
Yep.
walks away with those. Oh, no.
You're like, there he goes. We're like, don't be kidnappable. Just don't. He walked up to this old guy at the park, just like this like frail old man. He looked very sweet. My kid walked up to him. He grabbed like a hunk of just like roots and like dandelion and just like gives it to this man sitting on the bench. And I was like, this is so cute. But I was also like, what if this guy's like on Megan's list or something? You know what I mean? Like, who is this guy?
Yeah. Especially in
meganslaw.org. What if
I know. It's scary. I remember when I was littler, this didn't seem to be a huge concern, right? Kids just walks around by themselves. Sometimes I will go home with a really big plank of wood. And then my parents are like, where did you get this from? Did you steal it? I mean, no, just stranger gave it to me.
It is interesting. There's some interesting takes on this, like a rise of quote unquote stranger danger. And the fact, I shouldn't say the fact, but what I believe to be a fact is that like
Well,
families were actually much more dangerous to kids, and like
Oh,
step
yeah.
parents and people, you know, things that like people who were just in your lives, you know, those are
that's
generally more dangerous
Great point.
statistically people.
Yeah, I never saw
And-
myself that way, but
Yeah.
Now you
Tell
mention
them,
it.
yeah.
Exactly.
Look out for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, but I used to live in Boston, but I think the density of pedophiles in LA is much higher than Boston for some
That's
reason.
interesting.
Oh,
It's because Mark Wahlberg moved.
Well, I don't think he's that, but still.
He's not registered.
Yeah. If you go online, you just check you can see them now.
Yeah.
you know,
Oh yeah. I
Just-
check often.
Oh yeah, me too. Because
Yeah.
as a parent, probably
Yeah.
do this.
I
all
want
the
you
time.
know I truly don't know. Like, is it federal? Is it state? Like, do we have a different threshold in California for who has to register? Therefore,
yeah.
you're getting more.
I have
I'm
no
just
idea.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I'm being a scientist because you're inspiring me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's good. Great.
The weather's nice. The
Yeah,
weather's
yeah.
nice
Oh,
for
weather's nice.
molesting. So
Man, yeah, 'cause I'm more used to the East Coast as well.
Yeah,
It's after
I'm
coming
an East
here,
Coaster,
I sometimes wonder, how can people sit down and write when the weather is so nice?
I
you
know. I agree.
Yeah.
I'm a big walker. I love walking.
Oh,
It's great for my physical and mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And so LA, and I live on the west side, which is
Oh,
much
man.
cooler. And I walk every day, and that's such a big part of my life.
Oh, okay.
And walking for me is thinking of jokes, is thinking of, you know, and so
okay. That's really nice.
That's that's a huge thing for me.
Man,
I can see it being distracting though,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
because it can be.
I don't want to look at the screen.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember I was back in 2018 and 2019. I was in a hotel right on the beach, and there's a rooftop restaurant, and
Yes.
this one guy
In Venice?
Yeah, Venice, exactly.
Was
Yeah,
it Hotel Irwin, maybe?
I couldn't remember
have a
the
great
name now.
rooftop.
There's a row of hotel there.
Yeah.
This guy, he told me, he's maybe in his 50s or 60s. He said he's been doing this for almost 30 years. So every dusk, he will go on the rooftop and take pictures of the sunset.
Absolutely.
Yeah, every day. I'm like, oh, I don't believe you. Every day is different.
And you should. Like the amount of money we pay to live here, and we're so close to the ocean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got to get down and watch that sunset.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
paying for it.
Oh my God.
You got to take advantage of it.
It's just so amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
That's the kind of like I'm all about like resourceful fun, you know?
Yeah.
I love a park. I love a sunset. I love my husband and I had our 3-year wedding anniversary.
Oh.
My son goes to bed at sunset time right now. And we're like, I guess we could go make a dinner reservation and blah, blah, blah. Or we could just go to the beach, get a bottle of wine and watch the sunset. Like,
Oh, yeah.
and have such a better time because then you drink a bottle of wine and like run out to the ocean, you know, instead of
Yeah.
like be like, ugh, what am I wearing? Who's here?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
This is how much you pay for this, you know.
No, yeah.
So I think there's a lot of resourceful fun to be had in LA in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, in LA also, I also tell people, you know, when I first came here, I just saw the weather so perfect. I was like, wow, this weather is way out of my league. You know? I don't deserve this.
Yeah. Oh, I really get that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like sometimes I have this like, I'm like, this is such a Buffalo mindset, but like, if it's a nice day and I have to do things or whatever, like if I don't take advantage of the nice weather, it's like a moral failing.
Yeah, it will never happen again for the
like,
next 10 months.
Yes,
you know?
exactly. Yeah, you're like, you better get out there.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
no, it's hard to get used to.
Yeah,
it's really
yeah.
funny. That never leaves you. How long were you in Boston?
11 years.
Yeah, so that's a formative time to
Jesus
spend.
Christ,
Yeah,
Jesus. But then you do, that's a theory at least, you know, because people there have a stronger bond because we shovel the snow together.
Yes,
We're
it's
so
true.
miserable.
It's real. Misery loves company.
I know. Yeah.
There is there's a camaraderie that comes from that for sure. That you're just like kind of getting through it all together.
Yeah.
That's a big part of. I mean, I love that part of my family and like our philosophy in a lot of ways.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and the Buffalo Bills relates to that. It really is like, look, times are shit. It can be really hard out there.
Yeah.
But we're all going to get through it. And we're going to like
Exactly,
sit around
yeah.
the table for a hot meal and things will be good. And we love each other. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
really like a big part of East Coast living.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we all, for some reason, all the neighbors, they all shovel their own driveways and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And if you get some Dunkin' Donuts, everybody's so happy about it.
I know.
Like,
I know. I almost texted you because on the way here because I wanted to stop at Starbucks to see if anybody wanted anything, but
Oh, okay.
I was late. Know that I had good East Coast intentions.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
To get you,
Yeah.
maybe even a Dunkin'. There is one
Dunkin'.
close by. So
Yeah, but then I just feel Dunkin' in LA doesn't feel the same way as in the East.
how much time do you have to talk about this? I worked at a Tim Hortons.
Oh, okay.
Do
yeah,
you know
Hortons.
Tim Hortons? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I
yeah.
worked at Tim Hortons for 4 years. Won a scholarship, by the way.
Tim Hortons scholarship?
Yeah, Tim Hortons scholarship.
Oh, really?
It was like not that much money, but it was
Okay.
exciting.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I won because my essay I wrote about how my job was to sometimes dress up as the inflatable Tim Hortons cup.
Oh, what?
And bark, like call people in to the event.
Wait a minute. You literally wore a big
It
cup?
was like a fully inflatable cup with like
Yeah.
a fan at the bottom that only my arms stuck out of.
Yeah, wait a
It
minute.
was
but-
probably where my career peaked. That I was a hit.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, but so I'm very passionate about Tim Hortons
Uh-huh.
being much better than Dunkin' Donuts, and then also about Dunkin' Donuts in California being
Mm-hmm.
like a fun novelty, but it just does not hit the same way.
Oh, yeah.
I fully agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think also the donut shop is very local. Right? People are very loyal to their
Same
brand
people.
of donut.
Yep. We used to have this customer named Charlie who got the same thing every day, medium coffee with cream and a peanut donut. But if he was feeling feisty, he would come in and say that he wanted a beer and a watermelon.
beer and
watermelon
at Tim
beer and a
Hortons?
watermelon at Tim Hortons. But like these
Wait a
people
minute.
came in every day.
Uh-huh.
It was their routine. They like we did the same jokes. We
Yeah.
connect, but like it was the community.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it was a the Canadian national chain, it was a very community place.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I think Starbucks has become something like that in a
I
lot
think
of
so.
communities.
Yeah, I really think so.
Yeah, people look for the dogs, and the barista knows what you drink. You know,
and it's not a free place to sit, but it's generally a cheap place to sit and get Wi-Fi for a long time. Or you can go to the library, who also has free Wi-Fi, and some have 10 copies free printing.
Oh, wow.
It's important for me to advocate for the library because that's what I do when I volunteer. So I like to just toss it in sometimes if that's cool with you.
Oh yeah. Trust me.
I've done it multiple times, and I forgot who invented libraries.
We'll look this up.
We will check.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I agree because Starbucks has kind of become
in certain community. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so I think we're getting close to the end of our podcast. I really had a great time. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed this. Yeah. But by the way, if I have to rename my podcast, what would you name it?
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit more
Yeah.
about the podcast.
So in the beginning, this was called Stand Up Without Borders.
Okay,
I
fine.
talked to stand-up comedians from different countries.
I love that, yeah.
Even different fields. Some people are not professional stand-up comedians, but the way they approach things are very out of the box.
Okay.
Yeah, I like those people too. For
Me
example,
too. Yeah.
I interviewed a person who's a famous designer.
Okay.
She designs clothes for like Marvel movies.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, but she doesn't draw. She doesn't sew. She doesn't know how to make clothes.
Fascinating.
She just has ideas.
Yeah.
And then
My dream, truly.
And it tells people to do it.
Yes. I love that
Oh, you
idea
love
of
that?
a job.
Oh, really?
It doesn't have to be clothes. I just love to be like, idea, write this down. That's it.
and
That's
then-
my calling in life. So.
Yeah, but then there are plenty of people who knows how to do those
Yes.
type of jobs.
Yeah.
But
And
has
she
the-
obviously has great taste and
great
great,
taste.
enough that made her gives her the ability to do this. So
Yeah.
it's
Also, she learned how she knows how to run a business.
Yeah,
That's
that is-
really
yep,
key.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's Stand Out Without Borders.
Yep.
Some people suggest the second chance.
Okay.
You're in one field, now switching to another.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Yep.
but a lot of podcasts have the same name already.
Right.
Yeah, and a lot of them is about religion. Second chance,
Love it, of
second
course.
coming.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're giving you something valuable, salvation, which you might. I don't know if
Salvation.
you're
Oh.
giving us salvation, but that's,
Yeah.
So are you planning on mostly doing comedians and then some additional,
No.
or is this is just like generally speaking, people who are out of the box thinkers?
Yeah,
or
out of
like,
us thinkers. I want to let people see how others do their thing or make a living or find their inspiration in life, how other lives are shaped, that kind of thing. Yeah. But you don't have to give me an answer.
I know. I'm thinking it through.
Yeah.
It through. You also have your special coming out, which is potentially going to be called Between Jobs.
Between Jobs, yeah.
And so I'm trying to kind of like build a narrative around this project in that, so that they kind of go well together.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but a couple of specials though. Another special is called Dead Inside.
Yep. So it doesn't
It's about-
necessarily need to be connected.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's something interesting about reinvention in a way. I know that we
yeah.
just talked about reinvention, but especially in LA right now, the industry is like
Oh yeah.
turned on its head, and people are having to like figure out new
Yeah,
versions
everybody's
of what they do.
trying something different now. It's kind of interesting times.
But yeah, let me. I might have to listen to a few episodes. I might have to let the nutrients soak in,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
maybe
okay. Yeah.
we come up with something great.
Yeah,
but-
just watch out. We may switch our names, and you guys will know why. That's because of Jen.
and it's because of me. Just as long as it's not called like idiots I met on comedy shows, I'm good. I'm good with that.
No, it won't be. It's just gonna be called "It Is" on
Yeah.
my podcast.
The worst people I've met this week.
I got them in my podcast. Yeah. Oh yeah. I hope you can jumpstart your own podcast as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. So
Because the patriarchy is still here.
the patriarchy is here. Everything I do is also very much through that lens. But
Okay.
I recently wrote a basically prescriptive nonfiction book, and we had been talking about. I think you were reading a friend's nonfiction book that was potentially like a prescriptive, like how-to kind of thing. Maybe not. Maybe it was just nonfiction.
Yeah,
your friend's.
It's a
bestseller
book. Oh
yeah.
yeah. He's dealing with basically emotions in different stages of life.
Cool, okay.
During your youth, you're confused about life, and then now he's more mature, and the title of his book is "I'm waiting for the sea to come down" or something like that.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, because he was depressed for a year.
Yeah. So interesting.
Coming out of it,
Help sort of an expert guide.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I think the core of that book is you will find peace in your life, no matter how hard the time seems to be right now.
Yeah.
Just believe that there's going to be a time of peace.
Right, like it's
reconcile.
coming. You
Yeah,
might
it's
think
coming.
that that's great.
You might think it will never come.
Yeah.
But it's coming.
Yeah. I love
guess.
that.
Yeah.
I wrote a book. I got laid off after maternity leave.
Oh yeah.
And so
I
wrote,
heard that.
I wrote a book.
I'm sorry about that. Jesus.
And it was the same time as the strike. So my husband's in the industry too. So it's a wild time.
It's a double whammy.
Yeah,
That's
double
just-
whammy.
jeez.
He built a video game.
Mm-hmm.
He's a digital pacifist. He doesn't kill people in video games.
Oh, wow.
He built a video game called 7 Second Summer Camp.
7 Second
where
Summer Camp.
It gamifies meditation. So if you like to
really?
meditate and you like to play games, that's what. So he's spent the last year building
God.
that.
That's the two opposites.
Yeah. That's why it's perfect. It's really perfect.
Oh,
so
wow.
it
Have you tried meditation, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And gamifying it helps.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't get into it.
It's really, if you can't get into it, try this video game.
Oh yeah, I should try it. Because right now I found a substitute. Instead of meditating myself, I just hang out with people who meditate.
Yeah, they radiate peace.
Yeah, seriously.
On to you.
Yeah,
I
just
think
hear
you
them
got,
talking
there's
about
something to it.
Yeah.
This is why I married my husband. I'm like, he'll calm us down. So that's enough for the both of us.
Oh, okay.
So
Wow.
he made the game. I've been able to work on some things with him in terms of marketing it, and he does daily live streams. So we've been doing that. And then I have a book that I've written that right now I'm in the proposal stage, and it kind of goes along with what I do professionally right now, which is consulting for content and consulting for creators who make content. So my book is kind of in a fun way. It's comedic. It's a memoir about my time in reality TV, but it's prescriptive for people who are like, I've always wanted to do a podcast. I've always wanted to do a web series. I've always wanted to do some type of thing.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm not the person that makes things. And the idea is you will read my book and feel like you are a person who makes things. And hopefully Mark Cuban writes the intro. I'm coming for him to write the intro of the book. So
wow.
that's the plan. He's written an intro for a book that I really loved called White Working Class. And he was like very surprisingly insightful.
He already wrote an intro for you.
He wrote an intro for a book that I read that I thought I could ask him.
I think you should.
Yeah. I made him laugh once. I told you I'm coming for Mark Cuban. I'm coming back
good
for
luck
him.
with that.
Yeah.
And can he put his face on the cover? Or?
That's a good idea. But by Mark Cuban, and then it'll just like be crossed out, and it'll say my name really small. Business advice. Yeah, business advice by Mark Cuban, and then cross out business advice, cross out Mark Cuban. My title, Jen O'Donnell. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Know, maybe I'll come back here with my pal Mark.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Or are you going through the publisher?
Yeah, the plan right now is I'm working on a book proposal. I'm working with somebody who does this professionally.
Oh yeah, like
and
book
so,
agent.
And then first I have to get a book agent, and then I have to get it published, and blah blah blah. I would love to publish a book. I'm a book person. It would be wonderful.
Yeah,
but it's almost in a lot of ways idiotic to not also, if I don't get a publisher, self-publish this book. So
you could get it published.
I could,
yeah.
But the book itself is almost like you can do it yourself, and so it's kind of stupid to get a publisher. And you could make a lot of money with self-published books.
Oh, I read some of those books. One book is even titled.
Some are terrible.
Yeah, 1001 books you must read before you die.
Yeah.
And that book was not in the list.
Come on, you got your one. It's your one shot.
I was like, why would I read you?
You don't even put your own book on. Can't even make it 1002. So that I have that. That's the next step.
Oh, wow.
I have a Substack where I put some of my content creative ideas as a resource, some how-tos, some funny essays, things like that on my Substack. So, but yeah, that's all on jenodonnell.com.
Okay, cool.
What's
your Instagram handle?
My Instagram right now is private.
Oh, it's private?
It's private.
Why do I have it?
Well, but you can if you Google Jen O'Donnell. I mean, my Twitter is public right now. I just don't know if I love Twitter. I'm going through a real public crisis right now. It's really tough out there to get it. It's such a boring problem to have, but social media is really hard, and I don't want to get murdered, and I don't want people to steal photos of my son and put them on weird websites.
Okay.
So, it's a weird way to do it. I have a new TikTok account. Here's what people can follow. I have a secret that's not a secret cooking blog on Instagram. It's called Jennifer Garnish.
Okay.
Jennifer _Garnish. That's where I put. I'm a home cook. That's where I put my
really
cooking projects.
Name.
Yeah, fun, right? Garnish, yeah. So follow Jennifer Garnish. Follow my Substack, which is Next Gen Jen, and jenodonnell.com for me. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you'll hear that. Everybody, make sure we follow Jen O'Donnell, and I'm really looking forward to the book.
Thanks.
You're working on. Yeah.
Well, if you'd like to be an early, I was going to say I could use some early readers. So if you're interested, I'm happy to give you an exclusive first copy. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would,
No pressure. I'm not making you. You don't have to.
I will
I know you got lots of friends with lots of books.
no, it's
lots
okay.
to read.
I'm gonna sneak some Chinglish into your book.
No, that's great. Look, if I can get into that market, okay, great.
Okay,
Let's do. I was asking you about the Amazon of China and how the bestsellers work. So this is why I'm really doing this. I want to sell my book in China.
I will definitely recommend people. Yeah.
First, I mean, I was kind of joking. I really actually just had a nice conversation with you and wanted to have another one. But really, I would love to.
Well, you do so many things, but on top of that, Jen is a very funny comedian. That's how I met her.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Hopefully, we'll see each other more in the clubs.
For
and
sure.
Stuff. Yeah.
It was nice to meet you in the green room, and that was a fun show on Saturday. So.
Exactly. Yeah. This is amazing.
Yeah, they loved you. They really loved you.
You did great too.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you again for coming.
Yeah.
to
Thanks
my
for having
podcast.
me.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Okay. Thank you.